homesteaders, welcome back to our channel. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube, so thanks for joining us today. Are you ready for the April challenge? Let's see what we've got here. It says, excuse me, our heating and cooling system has been fried by an electrical event and it will take a week to get it replaced. So it looks like the first week of April we are going without heating or cooling. Yeah. So are you wondering why we chose April for this challenge? The honest truth is, April weather here is unpredictable. So I couldn't prepare for just a cold event or a long stretch of hot weather. April is up and down. So this will be a good way to test everything and see how we do. And you're invited to join us if you'd like, and definitely join in the conversation and talk about how you prepare for loss of heating and cooling. So we've had our power out in April before, several years ago. It was what I consider a long-term power outage. It was a big storm went through. Several thousand people lost their power. And so it was, I want to say 5 days that we went without electricity. And it was not terribly hot. It was humid and sticky, but it wasn't terribly hot. Can you hear my cat? she's my co-host today. So yeah. Hello, kitty. This is her home whenever I'm not in here. This is her hangout. So she's going to check and make sure that I'm doing okay and not bothering anything. Look out the window a while. So, okay, back to the topic. So we have been without power before in April and then without heating and cooling. So I think if you've had to experience something and you're preparing for it to happen again, it's a good idea to do it during the same time of year. We've also been without power for a few days when we've had tree work done, and the electric company actually came out and unhooked our power. So that was a little bit later into the almost summertime, and it was really uncomfortable. Some other instances where we've been without heating and cooling. So when we first moved into this house, our system was so old that they don't make it anymore. So we had trouble finding contractors and repairmen to work on it. Several times it would go out in the summertime, and those kind of things always happen on a weekend. So we would be without cooling for 2 or 3 days unless we wanted to pay the emergency fee to come out and fix it. And who wants to do that? So if you can avoid it, you do, don't you? We did. So we have a camper that at the time we could plug into our power here. And so if it was just the heating and cooling that was out, we could plug in and go out there to sleep. Let's see what else. One time in the wintertime, our propane regulator froze outside. I had no idea what had caused our heat to stop working. So I had to call our propane dealer, and they came out and checked, and it was just the regulator had froze, but it went out, or it froze up in the middle of the night, and they couldn't come out to in the middle of the day the next day. So when it's below freezing outside, you will pay the emergency fee to get that fixed. But it wasn't a big deal, thank God, but it's something that we need to prepare for. So that's what we're doing this week. Let's talk about mechanical failure. Your heating and cooling system is mechanical, and I don't know of any mechanical product that is totally 100% reliable all the time. Things break. Your washing machine breaks, your dishwasher breaks, your oven breaks, your car breaks. Just like all those other things, your heating and cooling can break. And it's happened to us before. And you rely on it, and you don't think it's not something that you're constantly thinking, is my heat going to come on today? Is my temperature going to be regulated? It's not something we've gotten used to relying on central heat and air here, and in most cases, it's not something that you think about on a daily basis. You just turn it on and there it is. So it's important to remember that it can fail. And when it does, you'll be uncomfortable. Another thing to consider is who is in your household. If you have a newborn baby, you're a little bit more careful about your temperature in your home, or um, the sleeping conditions, because you know how important it is for those babies to sleep and for you to get sleep. But there's other things to consider too. Like, for a while, I had a 5-year-old staying with me because her mom worked nights and the daycare wasn't open. So even though we hadn't had little kids in our home for a while, I had an extra. And so if the heating and cooling would have failed at that time, I would have been responsible for keeping someone else warm. Also, we've had elderly people who were convalescing here. I've even had a hospital bed set up in my home for elderly people. So that's another thing to consider. You're not just taking your own comfort into consideration, but also everyone else in the home. And you can't always plan for when you're going to have someone extra. I mean, you just never know when someone else is going to be staying with you, and you'll need to make sure that their needs are met also. Um, at one time, my husband was on blood thinners, and so even though I was comfortable, he was freezing all the time. Or, at my age, there's also times that I'm warmer than everyone else in the house. So you've got to take into consideration everyone's comfort. And so it's best to be prepared to be able to meet all the needs of everyone in the home. Let's talk about how losing your power or your heating and cooling can affect you, and why it's important to prepare for it. So, the first few times that we lost our heating and cooling, or our electric, when we first moved in here, we were in our 30s, and so going a few days without comfort measures, so long as it wasn't life threatening, was not a big deal. Since then, we've aged, and being comfortable affects more than just in the moment. Like, if you're going a whole night without sleep because you're uncomfortable, it affects your thinking the next day. It affects your ability to focus and concentrate on what you're doing. You get tired easier, and you have a tendency to slow down. So it's important to be comfortable to the point where you're keeping your brain health and your physical health, being able to stay active. So for this month's challenge, we are offering another giveaway, and the rules are the same as all the others that we've had. Leave a comment on this video, and on the 8th day, so April 8th, I will choose a random comment with the comment generator. And the prize this time is this portable fan. It's got a base. It's USB powered, USB-C, so that you can charge it from your car or whatever if your power is out, or if you're camping or anything like that. This is a handy little gadget. We've got a couple. They're not this brand, but they're basically the same thing, that we use in our camper, in our van camper, and really it makes the sleep quality so much better if you can have a fan. Also, if you're using backup power and it's in a singular spot, you don't normally have house-wide backup power or backup heating or cooling, so it helps to have a fan to circulate that, to make the whole room or house more comfortable. So you can get a chance to win this just by leaving a comment on this video, and like I said, on the 8th I will pick a random comment, and you'll just send me your address to the email in the description of this video, You have to be a U.S. resident in the lower 48 so that I can mail this to you. And that's all the rules. So good luck. See you later.